A few weeks later, the reviews started coming out. The LA Times review was glowing. The critic praised the restaurant's innovative approach and specifically called out Maya's short rib dish as a revelation of cross-cultural culinary conversation. Other reviews followed. Food blogs, magazine features, local news coverage. Crossroads became the restaurant everyone was talking about. Reservations were booked solid for months. With the success came new opportunities. A food magazine wanted to interview Maya. A local TV station asked her to do a cooking segment. Other restaurants started reaching out, curious about the young chef everyone was buzzing about. But the biggest opportunity came 3 months after opening. Chef Martinez called Maya into the office. "Sit down," the chef said. "I have news." Maya sat nervous. Had she done something wrong? "The restaurant group wants to open a second location," Chef Martinez said, "in San Francisco. A similar concept, but focused on different cultural fusions, and they want you to be the head chef." Maya's jaw dropped. "Head chef? But I'm still in culinary school. I'm not ready for that." "You'll finish school first," Chef Martinez said. "The San Francisco location won't open for another year, but they want you to start development now. Planning the menu, hiring the team, building it from the ground up. I don't know if I can do that," Maya said honestly. "I know you can," Chef Martinez said. "You're ready, not because you know everything, but because you're willing to learn. Because you understand that food is about more than just technique, and because you've proven you can handle pressure and keep growing." Maya thought about everything she had been through, the humiliation of being fired, the exhaustion of culinary school, the failures in the kitchen, the small victories that built into bigger ones. "Okay," she said. "I'll do it," Chef Martinez smiled. "I thought you might say that." That evening, after her shift, Maya drove to a place she had not been in almost a year. The Beverly Hills neighborhood where La Belle Cuisine was located. The restaurant where she had been fired. She parked across the street and looked at it. From outside, it looked the same. Same elegant facade, same warm lighting. But Maya knew that she was completely different. She was not the scared, struggling hostess anymore. She was a chef. A real chef with her own style, her own voice, her own future. Part of her wondered if Richard still worked there. Part of her hoped he would somehow see what she had become, not because she wanted revenge, but because she wanted him to know that his judgment had been wrong, that she did belong. Just not in his narrow, limited world, but mostly she did not think about Richard at all. He had been a moment in her journey, nothing more. A painful moment that had pushed her towards something better. Maya pulled out her phone and took a picture of the restaurant. Then she drove home. When she got to her apartment, her roommates were waiting with a cake and champagne. "We heard about San Francisco," Jenna squealed. "Head chef! Our roommate is going to be a head chef." They celebrated late into the night. Maya told them about the plans for the new restaurant, the ideas she had, the menu concepts she was already developing in her mind. Later, alone in her room, Maya looked at the photo she had taken earlier. La Belle Cuisine, the place that had rejected her. She deleted the photo. She did not need it anymore. Instead, she opened a different folder on her phone, her old cooking photos from a year ago, the simple dishes she had made in this tiny apartment kitchen, the photos that had started everything. She scrolled through them, remembering the dreams she had back then, the hope that someday she could go to culinary school, the wish that someday someone would value her talent. Those dreams seemed so small now compared to what was actually happening. She was not just going to culinary school. She was graduating at the top of her class. She was not just working in a kitchen. She was about to run one. Maya pulled up her conversation with Vin. She had not texted him in a while. They saw each other at the restaurant sometimes, but they were both busy. She typed, "They offered me head chef for the San Francisco location." I said yes. "Thank you for seeing something in me that night in the parking lot." The response came quickly. "Congratulations, chef. But remember, I didn't see something that wasn't there. I just saw what you couldn't see yet. The talent was always yours. Now you're showing the world." Maya saved that message just like she had saved his other messages. She had a collection of them now. Words of encouragement for the hard days. She looked around her small bedroom. Soon she would have to find a new place in San Francisco, a new city, a new adventure. It was scary and exciting at the same time, but she was ready, not because everything would be easy, but because she knew she could handle hard things. She had already proven that. Maya went to her closet and pulled out something she had kept folded in the back. Her old uniform from La Belle Cuisine. The black skirt and white blouse she had worn the night she was fired. She held it for a moment, remembering that version of herself. The girl who had felt worthless. The girl who believed someone else's judgment about where she belonged. "You were wrong," she said quietly, though she was not sure if she was talking to Richard or to her past self. "I do belong, and I'm going to keep proving it." She folded the uniform carefully and put it in a donation bag. Someone else could use it. She did not need it anymore. On her wall, she hung something Vin had sent her for the restaurant opening. It was a framed quote, "You always belonged. Now you're proving it to the world." Maya looked at it and smiled. She had proven it to the world. But more importantly, she had proven it to herself. The next morning, Maya woke early. She had a full day ahead. Culinary school in the morning, work at Crossroads in the afternoon, and in the evening a meeting to start planning the San Francisco location. She was busy. She was challenged. She was exactly where she was supposed to be. As Maya got ready for the day, she thought about everything that had led to this moment. The struggle, the failure, the humiliation, the unexpected kindness of a stranger who became a mentor, the hard work, the small victories that built into bigger ones. She thought about young people out there right now, sitting in jobs where they felt undervalued and dismissed. People being told they did not belong because of how they looked or where they came from or what their background was. She wanted them to know what she knew now. That other people's limitations did not have to become your reality. That rejection could be redirection. That sometimes the worst moments pushed you toward your best future. Maya grabbed her bag and headed out the door. She had work to do. She had dreams to build. She had a whole future to create, and she could not wait to get started. Years from now, when people asked her about how she became a successful chef, Maya would tell them about the night she was fired. About sitting in her car crying. About the movie star who showed up and offered her a chance, but she would also tell them about the months of failure and learning. About the exhaustion and doubt. About the moment she realized that having opportunities was not enough. You had to work for them. You had to earn them. You had to become the person worthy of them. She would tell them that success was not a straight line. It was messy and complicated and full of detours. But if you kept going, if you kept learning, if you kept believing in yourself even when others did not, you could build something real. Maya walked out into the Los Angeles morning, ready for whatever came next. She belonged here. She had always belonged. And now the whole world was starting to see what Vin had seen that night in the parking lot. A young woman with talent, passion, and the determination to prove everyone wrong. A chef in the making. A dream coming true. Maya stood in the kitchen of Crossroads, watching the final preparations happening around her. The kitchen gleamed with stainless steel and new equipment. The air smelled like fresh herbs and roasting garlic. In the dining room beyond the kitchen doors, she could hear people arriving. Critics, food bloggers, friends of the investors, people whose opinions could make or break a restaurant. "All right, team, listen up," Chef Martinez called out. The kitchen fell silent. "We've worked for months to get to this moment. Everything we've learned, everything we've practiced, it all comes down to tonight. Trust your training. Trust each other. And remember why we're here. We're not just serving food. We're creating experiences. We're telling stories. Now let's show them what we can do." The kitchen erupted in a chorus of "Yes, chef." Maya took her position at her station. She was working garde-manger tonight, responsible for cold dishes and salads, but more importantly, one of her own creations was on the menu, a dish she had spent months perfecting. Korean short rib with Italian gremolata over creamy polenta. It represented everything she believed about food, honoring traditions while creating something new, bridging cultures, making people feel connected. The first order came through, then another, then suddenly the kitchen was moving, the ballet of organized chaos that makes a restaurant work. Pans sizzled, knives flashed, orders were called out, plates went up. Maya moved through her tasks with focused intensity. Everything she had learned in the past 9 months came flooding back. Knife skills from school, timing techniques from Chef Martinez, the ability to stay calm under pressure that she had developed through countless failures and successes. 2 hours into service, the expeditor called out, ordering 2 short rib special. Maya's dish. Her heart jumped, but her hand stayed steady. She had made this dish hundreds of times. She could do it in her sleep. She plated carefully. The short rib, braised to perfect tenderness. The gremolata, bright and fresh. The polenta, creamy and rich. A drizzle of reduced braising liquid. A garnish of microgreens. Short rib up. Maya called. The expeditor checked the plate. Beautiful, out. Maya watched the server carry her dish into the dining room. Somewhere out there, someone was about to taste her creation. Someone would judge whether months of work had paid off. She could not think about that. More orders were coming in. She had to focus. The night became a blur of motion and concentration. The kitchen moved like a machine. Everyone knew their role. Everyone trusted each other. When someone fell behind, others stepped in to help. When mistakes happened, they were fixed quickly and calmly. This was what Maya had dreamed about. Not just cooking, but being part of a team creating something together. Being in a kitchen where everyone belonged, where diversity was valued, where talent mattered more than fitting some predetermined image. Service finally slowed around 10 o'clock. The last few tables were finishing their meals. The kitchen staff started cleaning their stations, exhausted but energized. Chef Martinez came over to Maya's station. "How are you holding up?" "I'm good," Maya said. "Really good." "Your plating was consistent all night," Chef Martinez said. "Clean, precise, beautiful. I'm proud of you." Those simple words meant everything. Maya had worked so hard to earn Chef Martinez's respect. "Chef," one of the servers burst through the kitchen doors, excitement on her face. "Table 12 wants to speak to whoever created the short rib dish. They said it was the best thing they've eaten all year." Maya looked at Chef Martinez, who smiled. "Go, take the compliment." Maya wiped her hands on her apron and followed the server into the dining room. She had not been out front all night. Seeing the actual restaurant filled with happy diners was surreal. Table 12 was near the window. A couple in their 50s sat there, empty plates in front of them. "I'm Maya Kim," she said nervously. "I created the short rib dish." The woman's face lit up. It was extraordinary, the way the Korean flavors blended with the Italian elements. It was familiar and surprising at the same time. "And that polenta? Absolute perfection." "Thank you," Maya said, feeling her face flush with pride. "That means so much to me." "I'm a food critic for the LA Times," the woman said. "I'll be writing about this meal. I think you're going to be very happy with what I say." Maya thanked her again and returned to the kitchen, her heart soaring. A good review from the LA Times could change everything for the restaurant. After service ended, the whole team gathered for a family meal. They sat together, exhausted and happy, eating the food they had prepared. Finn came into the kitchen, applauding. "You were all amazing tonight," he said. "This is exactly what I envisioned." "Better than what I envisioned. Thank you for making this dream real." He looked at Maya. "Especially you. That short rib dish? People could not stop talking about it. I heard at least 5 tables asking about it." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you for all of this, for believing in me." "You did the work," Finn reminded her. "I just opened the door." The alarm went off at 5 in the morning. Maya's hand shot out and turned it off before it could wake her roommates. She lay in bed for just a moment, her body screaming for more sleep. Every muscle ached. Her hands had cuts from knife work. Her feet hurt from standing all day. Then she remembered where she was going today and she smiled. She threw off the covers and got up. 4 months had passed since that meeting in Vin's office. 4 months that had been the hardest and best of Maya's life. Culinary school was nothing like she had imagined. It was harder, much harder. The first day, the head instructor, Chef Bernard, had looked at the class of 30 students and said, "Half of you will quit before graduation. A quarter of you will leave the industry within a year. Only those who truly love this will survive." Maya had decided right then that she would be one who survived. The school days started at 6 in the morning and ran until 2 in the afternoon. Knife skills, sauce techniques, bread making, butchery. Every single day brought new challenges. Maya's hands, which had once moved so confidently in her home kitchen, suddenly felt clumsy and slow. She burned her first batch of caramel. Her hollandaise broke 3 times before she got it right. Her first attempt at filleting a fish was so bad that Chef Bernard made her practice on 10 more fish after class until she could do it properly. But Maya kept going. When other students complained about the workload, she stayed quiet and practiced. When her classmates went out for drinks after class, Maya went to the restaurant project to work with Chef Martinez. The afternoons and evenings were spent at the restaurant development kitchen. This was a different kind of education. Chef Martinez did not coddle her. She was demanding, exacting, and never satisfied with good enough. Again, Chef Martinez would say, tasting a sauce Maya had spent an hour perfecting. The balance is off. More acid, less salt. Try again. At first, Maya had felt frustrated. She would make a dish exactly as Chef Martinez instructed, but the chef would still find problems. Maya started to wonder if she was really good enough for this. One night, about 6 weeks in, Maya was working on a dish for the 5th time. She was exhausted. Her back hurt. She had a practical exam at school the next day. And this stupid sauce still was not right. She put down her spoon and felt tears building up. She was so tired. So overwhelmed. Maybe Richard had been right. Maybe she did not belong here after all. Take a break, Chef Martinez said quietly. Maya looked up surprised. Chef Martinez was not usually sympathetic to frustration. Come sit, the chef said, gesturing to a stool. Maya sat down, wiping her eyes quickly. I'm pushing you hard, Chef Martinez said. I know I am. Do you know why? Maya shook her head. Because I see what you could become, Chef Martinez said. You have natural talent, Maya. Your palate is exceptional. Your creativity is real. But talent alone is not enough. You need discipline. You need technique. You need to be pushed past what you think you can do because that's where real growth happens. But I keep failing, Maya said quietly. Yes, Chef Martinez agreed. You do, and that's good. Every failure teaches you something. The students who get everything right the first time, they're usually the ones who quit when things get really hard. But you keep coming back. That's what matters, Maya thought about that. It doesn't feel like progress. Progress never feels like progress when you're in the middle of it, Chef Martinez said. It only makes sense when you look back. Trust me, you're getting better, faster than anyone I've worked with. Those words carried Maya through the next several weeks. School got harder. The pace at the restaurant development kitchen increased. Maya was working 16-hour days. She would fall into bed at night so tired she could barely move. Her roommates worried about her. You're going to burn out, Jenna said one night, watching Maya fall asleep on the couch before dinner. I'm fine, Maya insisted, but she knew it was a lie. She was running on fumes. Then came the breaking point. It was week 12 of culinary school, the midterm practical exam. Students had to prepare 3 dishes in 3 hours. They were judged on technique, flavor, presentation, and time management. Maya had practiced these dishes dozens of times. She knew them cold. She was ready, except she was not. The night before the exam, Maya stayed up late working on a new concept for the restaurant. She wanted to impress Chef Martinez. She worked until 2 in the morning, then set her alarm for 4:30 to give herself time to review her notes before the exam. But when the alarm went off, Maya could not make herself get up. She was so tired. Just 5 more minutes, she thought. She woke up at 5:45. The exam started at 6. Maya threw on clothes and ran. She made it to school at 6:03. 3 minutes late. Chef Bernard was already explaining the exam to the class. Nice of you to join us, Ms. Kim, he said coldly. That's a 10-point deduction for tardiness. Take your station. Maya wanted to cry. She had worked so hard and she had sabotaged herself by being late. The exam was a disaster. Because she was late, she was already behind. She rushed trying to make up time. She burned her protein. Her sauce was too thin. Her vegetables were overcooked. She looked around at the other students. They were all working smoothly, confidently. She was failing. When time was called, Maya plated her dishes knowing they were not good enough. Chef Bernard and the other instructors went around tasting everyone's work. When they got to Maya's station, Chef Bernard looked at her plates and sighed. What happened here? He asked. I was rushing, Maya said quietly. I made mistakes. You made many mistakes, Chef Bernard agreed. This is not the standard I expect from you. He wrote something on his clipboard and moved on. Maya felt humiliation wash over her. Around her, other students were getting compliments. She had failed. That afternoon, Maya went to the restaurant kitchen like always. But her heart was not in it. Chef Martinez noticed immediately. What's wrong? The chef asked. Maya told her about the exam, about being late, about failing so badly. Chef Martinez listened without interrupting. When Maya finished, the chef was quiet for a long moment. "How much sleep did you get last night?" Chef Martinez finally asked. "About 3 hours." "Why?" "I was working on the new dish concept," Maya admitted. "I wanted to get it right." Chef Martinez shook her head. "Maya, you're working too hard. I know that sounds strange coming from me, but it's true. You can't sustain this pace. You're going to school full-time and working here almost full-time. You're not sleeping. You're not taking care of yourself. Something has to give." "I can handle it," Maya insisted. "No," Chef Martinez said firmly. "You can't, and today proved it. You were so exhausted you overslept. Then you rushed and made mistakes you would never normally make. This is not sustainable." Maya felt defensive. "I thought you wanted me to work hard. I thought that's what you respected." "I want you to work smart," Chef Martinez corrected. "There's a difference. Working yourself to exhaustion is not dedication. It's self-destruction. And if you burn out now, you'll never make it to opening night." Maya had not thought about it that way. "Starting tomorrow, new schedule," Chef Martinez said. "You work here 3 days a week instead of 5. You need rest days. You need time to process what you're learning. A tired brain cannot learn." "But the restaurant opens in 5 months," Maya protested. "There's so much to do." "And you'll be useless if you collapse from exhaustion," Chef Martinez said. "Trust me on this. I've been where you are. I've worked those 100-hour weeks. It nearly destroyed me. I won't let you make the same mistake." Maya wanted to argue, but deep down she knew Chef Martinez was right. She was exhausted. She could not remember the last time she had felt truly rested. "Okay," she agreed quietly. "Good," Chef Martinez said. "Now go home. Take the rest of the day off. Sleep, eat a real meal. Come back tomorrow ready to work but not ready to kill yourself." Maya went home. She slept for 12 hours straight. When she woke up, her roommates had made dinner. Real food, not the quick snacks Maya had been surviving on. "You look better," Jenna said. "Less like a zombie," Maya laughed. It felt good to laugh. She realized she had not really laughed in weeks. The next few months were better. With the new schedule, Maya still worked incredibly hard, but she was not destroying herself anymore. She slept enough. She ate real meals. She even took 1 day off per week to just rest and recover. And something interesting happened. Her work improved. At school, her dishes became more consistent. Her techniques sharpened. She stopped making careless mistakes. By the final exam, she scored in the top 5% of her class. At the restaurant development kitchen, her creativity flourished. With a rested brain, she could think more clearly. Her flavor combinations became more sophisticated. Her presentations became more refined. Vin stopped by the kitchen one afternoon and tasted one of her newest creations. He closed his eyes, savoring it. "This is it," he said. "This is the kind of food I dreamed about when I started this project. It tells a story. It bridges cultures. It makes you feel something." Maya felt pride swell in her chest. This was why she was doing all of this. Not just to cook, but to create food that mattered. The restaurant was taking shape. They had settled on a name, Crossroads. The interior design was finished. The kitchen equipment was installed. The menu was almost complete. Opening night was set for 3 months away. The meeting lasted 4 hours. 4 incredible hours that changed everything Maya thought she knew about her future. Vin explained the vision. He had been working on this project for almost a year. The idea came from his own experiences in Hollywood, watching talented people get overlooked because they did not fit someone's narrow definition of what success should look like. He wanted to create something different in the restaurant world, a place that actively sought out diverse voices and gave them real opportunities, not just token positions. "The problem with most restaurants," Marcus said, gesturing at the magazine spread across the table, "is that they follow the same old model. The same type of chef, the same type of cuisine, the same type of story. We want to break that pattern." Chef Martinez nodded. "I've worked in kitchens all over the world. The best food comes from people who have something real to say, people who understand food as culture, as history, as connection, not just technique." "That's where you come in," Vin said, looking at Maya. "I saw your photos. I heard your passion. You understand that food is about more than just following recipes. You're creating something that bridges worlds, Korean and American, traditional and modern. That's the kind of voice we need. Maya felt overwhelmed. But I'm not formally trained. I've never worked in a real kitchen. I don't even have my culinary degree yet. That's okay, Chef Martinez said. Training can be taught. Passion cannot. I'd rather work with someone who has real love for food and teach them technique than work with someone who has all the skills, but no soul. James, the business manager, pulled out some papers. Here's what we're proposing. We want to bring you on as a junior consulting chef. You'll work with Chef Martinez and the development team to help create the menu concepts. At the same time, we'll sponsor your enrollment in culinary school. Maya stared at him. You'll sponsor me? Like pay for it? Full tuition, James confirmed. Plus a salary while you work with us. It won't be huge, but it will be enough to live on. You'll be busy. School in the mornings. Work with us in the afternoons and evenings. But if you're willing to put in the work, we're willing to invest in you. Maya could not speak. She pressed her hand over her mouth, trying not to cry. This was more than she had dreamed. More than she had dared to hope for. Why? She finally managed to ask. Why are you doing all this for me? Vin leaned back in his chair. I told you in the parking lot. I see something in you, but also honestly, because I can. I've been fortunate in my career. I've had opportunities that many people never get. So now I'm in a position to create opportunities for others. Why wouldn't I? But you just met me, Maya said. You barely know me. That's true, Vin acknowledged. But sometimes you just know. Call it instinct. Call it experience. I've been around enough to recognize real talent when I see it. Plus, we're not going into this blind. There will be a probation period. If it doesn't work out for either side, we can part ways with no hard feelings. But I don't think that's going to happen. Chef Martinez pulled over a large notebook. Let's talk about the restaurant concept. Right now, we're in the development phase. We have a location picked out, but we're still defining the menu and the overall experience. We know we want it to be accessible but sophisticated, diverse but cohesive. Does that make sense? Maya nodded, her mind already spinning with ideas. Good, Chef Martinez said. So tell me, if you could create your dream menu, what would be on it? And just like that, the meeting transformed from an interview into a creative brainstorming session. Maya started describing dishes she had imagined. A Korean-style short rib with Italian gremolata, a pasta dish with gochujang and pancetta, fusion concepts that honored both traditions without diminishing either one. The others listened, asked questions, built on her ideas. Marcus sketched out plating concepts. Chef Martinez discussed techniques. Vin talked about the emotional experience he wanted diners to have. Maya had never felt anything like this. She had spent years dreaming alone in her apartment, creating dishes that only her roommates would taste. Now she was sitting at a table with professionals, and they were treating her ideas like they mattered. Like she mattered. This is incredible, Marcus said, looking at the notes they had accumulated. Maya, you have a real gift for understanding how flavors can tell a story. My grandmother always said that food is memory, Maya said. Every dish should remind you of something, make you feel something. Even if it's a new experience, it should feel familiar somehow. Like coming home. That's beautiful, Chef Martinez said. That's exactly the philosophy we want at the heart of this restaurant. They talked about timing. The restaurant was scheduled to open in about 9 months. Maya would start culinary school in 2 weeks. She would begin working with the team immediately, starting with research and development for the menu. It's going to be intense, James warned. You'll be juggling a lot. School work, learning a whole new industry. Are you ready for that? Maya thought about the last 3 days. The despair she had felt. The fear that her dream was slipping away. And now this chance, this impossible, wonderful chance, I'm ready, she said firmly. I'll work as hard as I need to. I believe you, Vin said with a smile. Sandra came in with some papers. Maya, we'll need you to sign some initial agreements. Nothing binding, just paperwork to get you enrolled in school and set up on payroll. You can take these home and read them carefully. We're not in a rush. Take your time. Make sure you understand everything. Maya took the papers, her hands shaking slightly. This was real legal paperwork, with her name on it, offering her everything she had been working toward. Do you have any questions? James asked. About the offer, the restaurant, anything? Maya had so many questions her head was spinning, but one rose to the top. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Chef Martinez looked at her seriously. Failure is part of learning. I've been cooking for 20 years and I still fail sometimes. Dishes don't work. Ideas fall flat. That's how you grow. The question is not whether you'll fail. The question is whether you'll keep going when you do. I will, Maya said. I promise. Then you'll be fine, Chef Martinez said. The meeting began to wrap up. Everyone stood and shook hands again. Maya thanked each person, trying to express how much this meant to her. Words felt inadequate. Vin walked her to the elevator. How are you feeling? He asked, overwhelmed, Maya admitted. In the best possible way. I still can't quite believe this is happening. It's happening, Vin assured her. And Maya, I want you to remember something. That manager who fired you, he thought he was ending your story. But actually, he just pushed you toward your real beginning. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us lead to the best things. Not always, but sometimes. Maya nodded, feeling tears prick her eyes again. Thank you. For everything. For standing up for me. For this opportunity. For believing in me when I stopped believing in myself. Thank yourself, Vin said. You're the one with the talent. You're the one who's going to do the work. I'm just opening a door. You're the one who has to walk through it. The elevator arrived. Maya stepped inside and turned to face him. I won't let you down, she said. I know you won't, Vin said. I'll see you soon, Chef. Chef, he had called her Chef. Maya held onto that word as the elevator descended. When she got back to her apartment, her roommates were waiting anxiously. How did it go? Jenna practically screamed as soon as Maya walked in. Maya set down her bag and the folder of papers. She looked at her roommates' eager faces. Then she started laughing. Not hysterical laughter, but the kind that comes from pure joy and relief and disbelief. I start culinary school in 2 weeks, she said. Full scholarship. And I'm working on a restaurant project with a Michelin star chef. And I'm getting paid. Her roommates screamed and hugged her. They jumped around the tiny living room like crazy people. The neighbors probably thought they had lost their minds. Later that night, after the celebration had died down, Maya sat in her room and looked at the papers Sandra had given her. The culinary school enrollment forms, the employment agreement, her name printed in official font. She pulled out her phone and scrolled back to that text message from 3 days ago. This is Vin, talk soon. She typed out a message. Thank you for changing my life. She hesitated, then hit send. A few minutes later, her phone buzzed with a response. You changed your own life. I just helped you see the door. Now go build something amazing. Maya saved that message. She had a feeling she would need to read it again someday when things got hard. 'Cause they would get hard. She knew that. Culinary school was notoriously difficult. Working in a professional kitchen was demanding. Balancing both would be exhausting. But for the first time in a long time, Maya was not afraid of hard work. She was excited for it. She had spent so long fighting just to survive. Now she had a chance to actually build something, to create, to grow, to become who she was meant to be. She thought about Richard, the manager who had fired her. Part of her wanted to hate him, but mostly she felt sorry for him. He was so focused on surface things, on who fit his narrow idea of success, that he could not see real talent when it was right in front of him. He had let his prejudice make him small. Maya was not going to be small. Not anymore. 3 days passed. 3 long, difficult days. Maya sat in her apartment staring at her laptop screen. Job applications covered her browser tabs. Restaurant websites, catering companies, coffee shops. Anywhere that might hire someone who had just been fired. She had filled out 17 applications in 2 days. So far, she had received exactly 0 responses. Her roommate Jenna walked into the living room with a cup of coffee. Any luck? She asked. Not yet, Maya said, trying to keep the despair out of her voice. Jenna sat down on the couch next to her. Have you heard from that movie star guy? What was his name? Vin Diesel? Maya had told her roommates about what happened that night. At first, they had not believed her. Vin Diesel? In a parking lot? Offering to help? It sounded like something from a movie, not real life. But Maya had shown them the text message on her phone and their jaws had dropped. No, Maya said. Nothing. His assistant was supposed to call, but it's been 3 days. Maybe he forgot, Jenna suggested. I mean, he's famous. He probably has a million things going on. Yeah, Maya agreed, but her heart sank. She had been thinking the same thing. In the parking lot that night, everything had seemed possible. Finn had been so kind, so genuine, but maybe in the light of day he had forgotten all about the random hostess he met. Maybe it had just been a nice gesture with no real follow-through. Maya could not blame him if that was true. He had already done more than most people would do. He had stood up for her when nobody else did. He had given her hope when she felt hopeless. Maybe that was enough. Maybe she should not expect more, but she had hoped. God, she had hoped so much. The rent was due in 12 days. Maya had done the math over and over. Her savings account had $800. Rent was $600. That left $200 for food, utilities, and everything else. She could survive maybe 6 weeks if she was very, very careful. After that, she would have to move back to her parents' house in the suburbs, away from the city, away from the restaurant scene, away from her dreams. I should go apply in person at some places, Maya said, closing her laptop. Maybe that will work better than just sending applications online. That's a good idea, Jenna said encouragingly. You could go to that new breakfast place on 3rd Street. I heard they're hiring. Maya nodded and stood up. She went to her tiny bedroom and changed into nice clothes. Black pants, a clean blouse, professional, presentable, someone you would want to hire. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes looked tired. She had not been sleeping well. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Richard's face, heard his voice saying, "You don't belong here." The humiliation replayed over and over in her mind. Maya took a deep breath and forced herself to smile. Fake it until you make it, right? She grabbed her bag and her keys. Her phone rang. Maya looked at the screen. Unknown number. Los Angeles area code. Her heart jumped. Most unknown numbers were spam calls, but what if this one was not? She answered. Hello? Hi, is this Maya Kim? A woman's voice, professional and friendly. Yes, this is Maya. Great. My name is Sandra Lee. I'm calling from Vin Diesel's office. Do you have a few minutes to talk? Maya's heart started pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. Yes, she said, sitting down on her bed because her legs suddenly felt weak. Yes, I have time. Wonderful, Sandra said. Vin told me about meeting you last Friday. He was very impressed with your passion for cooking and your culinary skills. He asked me to reach out and set up a meeting. A meeting? Maya repeated. Yes, Vin is working on a restaurant project and he thinks you might be a good fit for the team. He'd like to introduce you to some colleagues and discuss the opportunity. Would you be interested? Maya's mind was spinning. This was real. This was actually happening. I'm very interested, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Excellent. Are you available tomorrow afternoon? Say 2 o'clock? Tomorrow, that was so soon. Maya frantically thought about her schedule. She had nothing planned except more job applications. Yes, tomorrow works. Perfect, Sandra said. I'll text you the address. It's a production office in West Hollywood. And Maya, I'll also arrange for a car service to pick you up. What's your address? Maya gave her the address, feeling dazed. A car service? Like in movies. Like she was someone important. Great, the car will be there at 1:30, Sandra said. Just dress casually, this is a very relaxed meeting. Vin wants you to feel comfortable. Do you have any questions? Maya had about 1,000 questions, but her brain could not form them into words. No, I think I'm good. Wonderful. I'll send you all the details by text. We're really looking forward to meeting you tomorrow, Maya. Thank you, Maya managed. Thank you so much. She hung up and stared at her phone. Then she let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. Jenna appeared in the doorway. What happened? Are you okay? They called, Maya said. Vin Diesel's office called. I have a meeting tomorrow, Jenna screamed and rushed over to hug her. Oh my God. I told you it was real. I told you. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Maya could not focus on anything. She tried to do more job applications but gave up. Her mind was stuck on tomorrow. What would she say? What would they ask her? What if she messed it up? That evening, Maya pulled out all the photos of her cooking from her phone and printed them at the drugstore. She organized them in a folder, writing descriptions of each dish. She stayed up late writing out her culinary philosophy, her thoughts on food and culture and creativity. She barely slept that night. Her mind played out 100 different scenarios. Good ones, bad ones, everything in between. The next morning, Maya changed her outfit 5 times. Nothing looked right. Too casual, too formal, too boring. Finally, Jenna came in and picked out a simple outfit for her. You look great, Jenna said firmly. Stop worrying. But Maya could not stop worrying. What if this was all a mistake? What if they took one look at her and realized Vin had been wrong? What if she froze up and could not speak? At 1:20, Maya was waiting by the front window of her apartment building. Her folder of photos was in her bag. Her hands were sweating. At 1:30 exactly, a black car pulled up. It was sleek and expensive looking. The driver got out and opened the back door. "Ms. Kim?" he asked. "That's me," Maya said. Her voice came out as a squeak. "I'm David. I'll be driving you today." Maya climbed into the back seat. The car was incredibly clean and smelled like leather. There was bottled water in the cup holders. She felt like she had stepped into a different world. David drove smoothly through Los Angeles traffic. Maya watched the city pass by her window. They drove through neighborhoods she had never been to, past houses that probably cost millions of dollars. The address Sandra had sent was in West Hollywood, an area Maya knew only from passing through. The car pulled up to a modern building with lots of glass and clean lines. It looked expensive and important. Maya's stomach clenched with nerves. "Here we are," David said, parking in front. He came around and opened her door. "You can go right in. Just tell the receptionist you're here for Vin Diesel's office." "Thank you," Maya said. She walked into the building on legs that felt like rubber. The lobby was all marble and glass. A young man sat at the reception desk typing on a computer. "Hi," Maya said. "I'm Maya Kim. I have a meeting with Vin Diesel's office?" The receptionist smiled warmly. "Of course. Sandra told me you'd be coming. Take the elevator to the 3rd floor. She'll meet you there." Maya got in the elevator. She watched the floors tick by. 1, 2, 3. The doors opened. Sandra was waiting. She was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and an efficient manner. "Maya, so nice to meet you. Come on, everyone's excited to talk with you." Maya followed Sandra down a hallway. Her heart was beating so fast she thought it might explode. Sandra opened a door and gestured for Maya to go in. The room was not what Maya expected. Instead of a conference table and serious chairs, it was set up like a creative workspace. There was a large table covered with food magazines and restaurant concept sketches. A whiteboard on the wall had ideas written all over it. And sitting around the table were 4 people. Vin was there, looking relaxed in jeans and a t-shirt. He stood up when he saw her and smiled. "Maya, thanks for coming." Suddenly Maya could breathe again. Seeing his familiar face, remembering his kindness in the parking lot made some of her nerves fade. "Thank you for inviting me," she said. "Let me introduce everyone," Vin said. "This is Marcus Rodriguez. He's a restaurant consultant who's helping us develop the concept. This is Chef Alicia Martinez. She has 2 Michelin stars and she's going to be our executive chef. And this is James Park. He handles the business side." They all shook hands and said hello. Everyone seemed genuinely happy to meet her. "Have a seat," Vin said, gesturing to an empty chair. "Can we get you anything?" "Water, coffee." "Water would be great," Maya said, sitting down. Sandra brought her a glass of water and Maya took a sip, grateful for something to do with her hands. "So," Vin said, sitting back down, "I told everyone about meeting you and seeing your cooking photos. But I want you to tell them yourself. Tell us about your culinary journey. Where did it start? Where do you want it to go?" Maya looked around at the faces watching her. They all seemed interested, encouraging. She took a breath and started talking. She told them about growing up watching her grandmother cook Korean food. Maya could not believe what she was seeing. Vin Diesel was walking straight toward her car. The movie star, the action hero, the man whose face was on posters all over the world. He was walking toward her. She quickly wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, trying to erase the evidence of her crying. It did not work. Her face was wet, her eyes were puffy, and she probably looked like a complete mess. Great. Just perfect. The worst night of her life was somehow getting even more bizarre. Vin reached her car and stopped a respectful distance away. He did not crowd her or make her feel trapped. He just stood there with his hands in his pockets, his expression kind. "Hi," he said simply. "I'm Vin." Maya almost laughed. Like she did not know who he was. Like everyone on the planet did not know who he was. "I know," she managed to say. Her voice came out rough from crying. "I was inside the restaurant," Vin said. "I saw what happened. I wanted to check if you're okay." Maya looked at him for a long moment. Was this real? Was Vin Diesel actually standing in a parking lot asking if she was okay? Maybe she had hit her head. Maybe this whole night was just a very weird dream. "I'm fine," she said automatically. then realized how ridiculous that sounded. She was sitting in her car crying after being publicly fired. She was clearly not fine. Vin raised an eyebrow slightly, and Maya felt a small, genuine laugh escape. "Okay, I'm not fine," she admitted. "I'm actually pretty far from fine." "Can I sit?" Vin asked, gesturing to the passenger seat of her car. Maya looked at the passenger seat. It had a coffee stain on it from last week. There were some receipts on the floor. Her car was old and kind of messy, and now a famous millionaire wanted to sit in it. "Sure," she said, because what else was she going to say? Vin walked around the car and opened the passenger door. He folded his large frame into the small seat, which would have been funny under different circumstances. He closed the door and turned to look at her. "What's your name?" he asked. "Maya. Maya Kim." "Maya," he repeated like he was committing it to memory. "I'm really sorry about what happened in there. That manager was way out of line." "You saw it?" Maya felt a fresh wave of humiliation wash over her. "I did," Vin said honestly, "and so did a lot of other people, which is exactly why what he did was so wrong. Nobody deserves to be treated like that, especially not in public." Maya nodded, not trusting herself to speak without crying again. "Can I ask you something?" Vin said gently. "Was tonight the first time he treated you badly?" Maya shook her head. "He's been like this since he started 2 weeks ago. Little comments, always criticizing. But I thought if I just kept my head down and did good work, he would stop." "But he did not stop," Vin said. "It was not a question. He got worse," Maya said. "Tonight he decided I did not belong there. And that was it. A year of work, gone in 2 minutes." Vin was quiet for a moment. "I confronted him," he said finally. "After you left. I asked him why he fired you. He could not give me a real answer." Maya looked at him in surprise. "You confronted him? Why?" "Because it was wrong," Vin said simply. "And because I've been there. Not exactly the same situation, but close enough. I know what it feels like to be told you don't fit, that you're not what they're looking for." Maya had a hard time imagining Vin Diesel being rejected for anything. He was successful, famous, wealthy. But the way he said it, the look in his eyes, told her he was being honest. "What did you do?" she asked. "When people told you that?" "At first I let it get to me," Vin said. "I believed them. I thought maybe they were right. Maybe I really did not belong. But then I got angry, and I decided to prove them wrong." "How?" Maya asked. "I made my own opportunities," Vin said. "When Hollywood would not give me the roles I wanted, I wrote my own film. I scraped together money, called in every favor, and made it happen. It was not easy. It was actually really hard. But it was better than sitting around waiting for someone else to decide I was good enough." Maya listened, absorbing his words. "I want to go to culinary school," she said suddenly. "That's why I was working at that restaurant. I was saving money. I want to be a chef." "Yeah?" Vin's face lit up with genuine interest. "Tell me about it." And just like that, Maya started talking. She told him about her love of cooking, about the recipes she created at home, about her dreams of having her own restaurant someday. She pulled out her phone and showed him the pictures of dishes she had made. Vin looked through them carefully, asking questions. What was in this sauce? What inspired that combination? Where did she learn that technique? Maya found herself relaxing. For the first time all night, she felt like a real person instead of just someone to be pushed around or dismissed. Vin was actually listening to her. He cared about what she was saying. "This is really impressive," Vin said, looking at a picture of a Korean-Italian fusion dish Maya had created. "You taught yourself all this?" "Library books, YouTube videos, a lot of trial and error," Maya said. "I can't afford classes yet, so I just practice whenever I can. My roommates are probably tired of being my taste testers." Vin smiled. "I doubt that if your food is this good." Maya felt a warmth in her chest. It had been so long since someone had encouraged her dreams instead of dismissing them. "Can I tell you something?" Vin said, his tone becoming more serious. That manager in there, Richard, he's wrong. About you, about what you're capable of, about everything. You do belong in restaurants. You belong anywhere you want to be. Don't let one ignorant person make you doubt yourself. Maya felt tears building up again, but these were different. These were not tears of humiliation. These were tears of relief, of gratitude, of feeling seen and valued. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea how much I needed to hear that tonight." "I think I have some idea," Vin said kindly. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. The parking lot had gotten darker. More stars were visible in the sky now. Maya could hear traffic from the street, the distant sound of the city moving on with its night. "Maya," Vin said slowly, like he was choosing his words carefully. "I want to ask you something, and I want you to really think about your answer before you say anything. Okay?" Maya nodded, confused but curious. "What if I told you that tonight does not have to be the end?" Vin said. "What if I told you it could be a beginning instead?" "What do you mean?" Maya asked. "I mean that I might be able to help you," Vin said. "I have connections in the restaurant industry. I know people who value talent and passion over arbitrary standards about who belongs and who does not." Maya's heart started beating faster. "I don't understand." "I'm working on a project," Vin explained. "A restaurant group that focuses on giving opportunities to talented people who might not get chances otherwise. It's been in development for a while, but we're always looking for the right people to bring into it." "You want me to work at your restaurant?" Maya asked, not quite believing what she was hearing. "I want you to do more than work there," Vin said. "I want you to help build it. I want you to be part of creating something new, and I want to help you get to culinary school while you do it." Maya stared at him. This had to be a dream. Things like this did not happen in real life. Famous movie stars did not show up in parking lots and offer to change struggling workers' lives. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you do this for me? You don't even know me." "Because I see something in you," Vin said. "Talent, passion, determination. The same things I saw in myself when I was struggling. And because that manager in there tried to destroy your dream tonight, and I have the power to help you save it. So why wouldn't I?" Maya did not know what to say. Part of her wanted to say yes immediately, but another part was scared. What if this was too good to be true? What if it did not work out? What if she failed? "I can see you're thinking too hard," Vin said with a slight smile. "Look, I'm not asking you to decide anything right now. You just went through something traumatic you need time to process. But I want you to have my contact information, and I want you to think about what I said. Can you do that?" "Yes," Maya said. "I can do that." Vin pulled out his phone. "Give me your number. My assistant will call you in a couple days. We'll set up a meeting, very casual, no pressure. You can come talk to me and my team about the project, ask questions, see if it feels right. And if it does not, no hard feelings, okay?" Maya gave him her number with shaking hands. She watched as he typed it into his phone and sent her a text, so she would have his contact information too. "There," he said. "Now you can reach me if you need anything." He opened the car door and stepped out, then leaned down to look at her one more time. "Maya, promise me something. Don't let tonight make you small. Don't let one person's prejudice convince you that you're not good enough. You are good enough. You're better than good enough, remember that." "I'll try," Maya said. "Good," Vin said. "I'll talk to you soon." He closed the door and walked away across the parking lot. Maya watched him go, still not quite believing any of this had happened. She looked at her phone. There was a text from an unknown number. "This is Vin. Talk soon." Maya sat in her car for a long time after he left, her mind spinning. 2 hours ago she had been fired and humiliated. Her future had looked dark and hopeless, and now somehow a door had opened, a door she never could have imagined. 30 minutes earlier, Vin Diesel had walked into La Belle Cuisine looking forward to a quiet dinner. He was meeting 2 old friends, but he had arrived early on purpose. He liked having a few minutes to himself before social situations. It gave him time to relax and clear his mind. The hostess at the front was a young blonde woman who recognized him immediately. Her eyes got wide, but to her credit, she stayed professional. "Good evening, Mr. Diesel." she said with a practiced smile. Your party hasn't arrived yet, but your table is ready. Would you like to be seated now or wait? I'll sit now, thank you, Vin said. She led him to a corner booth toward the back of the restaurant. It was exactly what he had requested when making the reservation. Private quiet, away from the main flow of traffic. He could see most of the dining room from here, but most people would not notice him unless they were really looking. Vin ordered a sparkling water and settled into his seat. He pulled out his phone and checked his messages. His friends were running a few minutes late. Traffic was bad on Sunset Boulevard. That was fine. He did not mind waiting. The restaurant was nice, elegant without being pretentious. The lighting was warm. The tables were well spaced. Classical music played softly in the background. Vin could see why it had good reviews. He watched the dining room fill up with the dinner crowd. Couples on date nights. Groups of friends celebrating something. Business dinners with serious conversations. The usual Friday night mix. That was when he noticed the other hostess. She was Asian, probably in her early 20s, with a genuine warmth in the way she greeted guests. Vin had been in the public eye long enough to recognize the difference between real kindness and professional fakeness. This young woman was genuinely happy to welcome people. He watched her work for a few minutes. She moved efficiently, never seeming rushed even though the restaurant was getting busy. She remembered to push in chairs after seating people. She smiled at children and complimented an elderly woman on her dress. Small touches that showed she cared about her job. Vin looked away, focusing on his phone again, but something made him glance back up at the host stand. A man in a manager's suit was talking to the young hostess. No, not talking. The body language was all wrong. The manager stood too close, his posture aggressive. The hostess had taken a step back. Her smile was gone. Vin could not hear what they were saying, but he could see the tension. Other employees nearby had stopped what they were doing. Customers waiting to be seated looked uncomfortable. Then the manager's voice got louder. Loud enough that Vin could hear some of the words even from across the room. You don't fit the image we want for this restaurant. Vin felt his jaw tighten. He had heard variations of that phrase before. Many times. Usually it was code for something else. Something uglier. We're letting you go. Effective immediately. The words carried across the dining room. People at nearby tables turned to look. The young hostess stood frozen, her face showing shock and humiliation. She was being fired, in public, in front of customers and coworkers. During the dinner rush, Vin set down his phone. He watched the scene unfold with growing anger. The manager stood with his arms crossed, making a show of his authority. The young woman tried to argue, but her voice was quiet, almost pleading. The manager cut her off with a threat to call security. This was wrong. Everything about it was wrong. Vin had spent years in Hollywood watching people abuse their power. He had seen talented actors destroyed by prejudice and politics. He had experienced it himself. As a multiracial man, he did not fit neatly into Hollywood's boxes. He was not white enough for some roles, not black enough for others. Directors had told him to his face that he was not what they were looking for. Not because he lacked talent, but because he did not look the way they expected. He had fought against that kind of thinking his entire career. He had created his own opportunities when doors were closed to him. And now, watching this young woman being publicly humiliated for apparently the same reason, something inside him said he could not just sit here and do nothing. The hostess walked away toward the back of the restaurant, her shoulders hunched. The blonde hostess quickly took over the stand, apologizing to waiting customers. The manager smoothed down his suit jacket, looking satisfied with himself. Vin stood up from his booth. He walked across the dining room, his footsteps deliberate. People started noticing him. Whispers spread through the restaurant. That was fine. Let them watch. He approached the host stand where the manager was now checking the reservation list, acting like nothing unusual had happened. Excuse me, Vin said. The manager looked up. His face went through several expressions in quick succession. Surprise, recognition, then a nervous smile. Mr. Diesel, he said, suddenly all charm. Is everything all right with your table? Can I get you anything? I want to know why you just fired that young woman, Vin said. His voice was calm but firm. The manager's smile flickered. I'm sorry, but that's a personnel matter. I can't discuss it with customers. I'm not asking for her personal information, Vin said. I'm asking why she was fired. I was sitting right there. I saw the whole thing. So did half your dining room. The manager glanced around nervously. More people were watching now. The blonde hostess had taken a step back, her eyes wide. It was a business decision, the manager said, trying to sound confident. Sometimes we have to make changes to maintain our standards. What standards? Vin asked. She seemed like she was doing her job well. I watched her for 15 minutes before you fired her. She was professional, friendly, efficient. So what was the real reason? I don't appreciate your tone, the manager said, his face reddening. This is my restaurant, and I have the right to manage my staff as I see fit. This is not your restaurant, Vin said quietly. You're just a manager. And I'm asking you a simple question. What specific thing did she do wrong that justified firing her in the middle of a shift in front of everyone? The manager opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked around, clearly aware that many people were listening now. She did not fit our team culture, he finally said. What does that mean? Vin pressed. Give me one specific example of something she did wrong. She was not right for this environment. Because of how she looks? Vin asked directly. I never said that, the manager said quickly. Too quickly. You did not have to, Vin said. I heard what you told her. You said she did not fit the image you want. That's not about her job performance. That's about your prejudice. The manager's face went from red to pale. I'm going to have to ask you to return to your table, sir. You're causing a disturbance. I'm causing a disturbance? Vin laughed, but there was no humor in it. You just humiliated and fired an employee in front of a room full of people. But I'm the problem? The blonde hostess was openly staring now. Several waiters had stopped working to watch. Customers at nearby tables were not even pretending to eat anymore. Mr. Diesel, please, the manager said, lowering his voice. I understand you're upset, but this really is not your concern. You're right, Vin said. It's not my concern. But I'm making it my concern because what you did was wrong and somebody needs to say it. I was just doing my job, the manager insisted. No, Vin said. You were abusing your power. There's a difference, the manager's jaw tightened. Are you threatening me? Not at all, Vin said calmly. I'm just telling you that I saw what happened here tonight. And I want you to know that it was wrong. You humiliated a young woman who was just trying to do her job. You fired her without cause, without dignity, without respect. And you did it because she did not look the way you think she should look. That's not true, the manager said, but his voice lacked conviction. I think we both know it is, Vin said. I've been in this industry long enough to recognize discrimination when I see it. The manager looked around desperately, like he was hoping someone would come help him. But all the other employees kept their distance. What do you want from me? The manager finally asked. Nothing, Vin said. I'm not trying to get you fired or cause problems for this restaurant. I just wanted you to know that people are watching. What you do matters. How you treat people matters. He paused, then added, I'm canceling my reservation. I won't be eating here tonight. And I won't be recommending this place to anyone. The manager's face showed panic now. Vin Diesel was exactly the kind of celebrity endorsement restaurants dreamed of, and he was walking away because of how an employee was treated. Mr. Diesel, please, I'm sure we can work something out, the manager started. But Vin was already turning away. He walked back toward his booth to grab his phone and jacket. His friends would understand. He would text them and suggest another restaurant. But first, he had something else to do. That young woman was probably in the parking lot by now. Maybe already driving away, but maybe not. Maybe he could catch her. Vin had been in her position before. Not exactly the same, but close enough. He knew what it felt like to be told you did not belong. He knew the shame and anger and helplessness that came with it. He could not give her job back. He could not undo what had just happened. But maybe, just maybe, he could do something else. He pulled out his phone as he walked toward the exit. He scrolled through his contacts, found the number he needed, and sent a quick text. Maya Kim stood outside the glass doors of La Belle Cuisine, trying to catch her breath. Her hands were shaking and she pressed them against her black skirt to make them stop. Inside the restaurant, she could see people moving around, getting ready for the dinner rush. In 2 minutes, she would have to go back in there and smile at everyone like nothing was wrong. But everything was wrong. She had been working at this restaurant for almost a year. It was a fancy place in Beverly Hills where rich people came to eat expensive food. Maya was a hostess. Her job was to greet guests, take them to their tables, and make them feel welcome. She was good at it. The customers liked her. She remembered their names and their favorite tables. She knew who liked the window seats and who wanted to sit away from the kitchen noise. Maya needed this job badly. She was 23 years old and living in a tiny apartment with 2 roommates. Every dollar she earned went toward rent, food, and her savings account. She was saving money for culinary school. She wanted to be a chef more than anything in the world. At night, after her shifts ended, Maya would go home and cook. She would try new recipes and create her own dishes. Her roommates always said her food was amazing. Maya would take pictures of everything she made and keep them in a folder on her phone. She had hundreds of pictures. Each one represented a dream, a future she was working toward. But dreams cost money. Culinary school was expensive. So Maya worked double shifts whenever she could. She worked 6 days a week, sometimes 7. Her feet hurt all the time. She was always tired, but she kept going because she knew it would be worth it. Then 2 weeks ago, everything started to fall apart. The restaurant hired a new manager. His name was Richard Chen, and from the first day he did not like Maya. She did not know why. She had not done anything wrong. But Richard looked at her differently than he looked at the other employees. His eyes would move up and down, judging her appearance. He would make small comments about her hair, her makeup, the way she dressed. "You need to look more polished," he would say. This is a high-end establishment. Maya always dressed professionally. She wore the uniform the restaurant required. Black skirt, white blouse, black shoes. Her hair was always neat. She wore simple makeup. She looked exactly like the other hostesses. But Richard kept finding problems. "Your accent is too strong," he told her once. "The guests need to understand you clearly." Maya barely had an accent. She was born in Los Angeles. She spoke perfect English. But Richard made her feel like she did not belong, like she was somehow wrong just for existing. The other employees noticed what was happening. Some of them gave Maya sympathetic looks, but nobody said anything. Nobody wanted to get on Richard's bad side. Jobs were hard to find, and everyone needed their paycheck. Maya tried to ignore Richard. She focused on doing her job well. She smiled at the customers. She was polite and professional. She hoped that if she just worked hard enough, Richard would leave her alone. She was wrong. Tonight was Friday, one of the busiest nights of the week. Maya arrived at work 30 minutes early, like she always did. She checked the reservation list and prepared the seating chart. Everything was organized and ready. The first guests started arriving at 6 o'clock. Maya greeted them warmly and showed them to their tables. The restaurant filled up quickly. The dining room buzzed with conversation and laughter. Waiters moved smoothly between tables. Everything was running perfectly. Then at 7:30, during the middle of the rush, Richard called Maya over to the host stand. His face looked angry. Maya's stomach tightened with worry. She walked over quickly. "Is something wrong?" she asked. Richard did not answer her question. Instead, he crossed his arms and stared at her. Several customers were waiting nearby to be seated. The other hostess, Jennifer, was watching nervously. "Maya, this is not working out," Richard said loudly. Maya felt her face get hot. "What do you mean?" "You don't fit the image we want for this restaurant," Richard continued. His voice was loud enough that people could hear. "I've been watching you and I've made a decision. We're letting you go. Effective immediately." The words hit Maya like a physical blow. Around them, people stopped talking. Other employees turned to look. The customers waiting to be seated stared at the scene unfolding in front of them. "But I haven't done anything wrong," Maya said. Her voice came out small and shaky. "All my reviews have been good. The customers like me." "This is not a discussion," Richard said coldly. "Please collect your things and leave. Jennifer will cover your station." Maya felt tears building up behind her eyes, but she refused to cry in front of everyone. Not here, not now. She could feel dozens of eyes on her. The humiliation burned through her chest. "You can't just fire me like this," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "There has to be a reason." "I just gave you a reason," Richard said. "You don't belong here. Now please leave before I have to call security." The threat hung in the air. Maya looked around at her coworkers. Nobody met her eyes. They all looked away, uncomfortable but silent. She was alone in this. With as much dignity as she could manage, Maya walked toward the back of the restaurant where the employee locker room was located. Her legs felt weak. Her whole body was shaking. Behind her, she could hear Richard telling the waiting customers that there would be just a small delay. His voice was smooth and professional, like nothing had happened. In the locker room, Maya sat down on the bench and stared at her locker. Her name tag was still pinned to her shirt. She unpinned it slowly and held it in her hand. Maya Kim, hostess, not anymore. She opened her locker and pulled out her bag and jacket. There was not much to take. A pair of comfortable shoes she changed into after work. A hoodie, her water bottle. These small items represented a year of her life, and now it was over. Maya changed out of her work clothes and put on jeans and her hoodie. She stuffed the uniform into her bag. She did not know if she was supposed to return it or not. She did not care. As she stood up to leave, she caught sight of herself in the small mirror hanging inside her locker door. Her eyes were red, but she had not cried yet. Her face looked tired and defeated. She barely recognized herself. "You don't belong here." Richard's words echoed in her mind. The worst part was that a small voice inside her head wondered if he was right. Maybe she did not belong in these fancy places. Maybe she was fooling herself, thinking she could ever become a real chef. Maya closed her locker for the last time and walked out. She went through the kitchen, keeping her head down. The cooks and dishwashers glanced at her but said nothing. Everyone knew what had happened. Gossip spread fast in restaurants. She pushed through the back door into the parking lot. The cool evening air hit her face. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. It was beautiful, but Maya could not appreciate it. She walked to her car, an old Honda Civic that was more rust than paint. The driver's side door squeaked when she opened it. Maya got in and closed the door. Then finally alone, she let herself cry. The tears came hard and fast. She cried for the job she just lost. She cried for the money she would not earn. She cried for her dream of culinary school that suddenly seemed impossible. She cried because she had been humiliated in front of everyone. She cried because Richard had made her feel worthless. Maya put her hands on the steering wheel and rested her forehead against them. She cried until she had no tears left. Then she just sat there empty and exhausted, wondering what she was going to do next. She had rent due in 2 weeks. She had $47 in her checking account. Her savings account, the one for culinary school, had $800. That was 3 months of double shifts and skipped meals. It was not enough for school, but it might keep her from being homeless for another month or two. Maya lifted her head and looked at the restaurant through her windshield. Through the windows, she could see people eating and laughing. Life was going on normally in there. They had already forgotten about her. She reached for her keys to start the car. She just wanted to go home, crawl into bed, and forget this horrible night ever happened. But before she could turn the key, she saw something that made her stop. A man was walking across the parking lot toward her. She could not see his face clearly in the fading light, but something about the way he walked seemed purposeful. He was coming straight toward her car. Maya's heart started beating faster. Who was this? Was it security coming to make sure she actually left? She was too tired for another confrontation. The man got closer, and Maya finally saw his face. Her breath caught in her throat. She knew that face. Everyone in America knew that face. It was Vin Diesel.